Hello, welcome back to our series on LangChain4j framework. Today in this tutorial, we are going to learn how we can connect our LangChain4j application to local LLMs that are running inside the Ollama. Now let's quickly understand some of the basics related to Ollama. So Ollama is basically an open source tool which makes it easy to run the large language model inside a local machine. So currently we are on the official website of Ollama, which is ollama.com. And if we have to download the Ollama, we simply need to click on the download button, and based on our operating system, we can download the installer and run the same. Once the installation is done, you can simply verify the same by typing the command, which is Ollama version. It will simply print the version of the Ollama which is installed on your system. Once the Ollama is installed on our machine, we can work with this model with the help of the simple commands. So let's say we have to download a particular model, then we can make use of this command, which is Ollama pull. Then we need to specify the model ID. And in order to search for the model ID, we can visit this particular website, which is ollama.com/search. Here you can see different models are listed here. We can also search for a specific model with the help of the search bar. So in this tutorial, we are going to work with the Google Gemma model. So I have searched for the same, and when we click on Gemma 3, here you will see different variants of the Gemma 3 are listed here. In this tutorial, we are going to work with this particular model, which is Gemma 3 colon 1 billion parameter. And here you will see the size of the model is listed here, which is around 800 MB. Now if I have to download this model, then I can simply copy this model ID, and we can go to command prompt and type Ollama pull. Then we can specify the model ID, which is Gemma 3 colon 1B. Then it will start downloading the model. In our case, the model was already downloaded, so the process was completed very quickly. Now if I have to check what all models are available on my system, I can make use of this command, which is Ollama list. It will list down all the models that are currently available on my machine. In our case, it is only one, which is Gemma 3 1 billion parameter model. Now if I have to run this particular model, then we can make use of this command, which is Ollama run. Then we can specify the model ID. Then it will start the interactive chat session wherein we can ask any query to our model. So if I type Ollama run and specify the model ID, here you will see the interactive chat session is started. We can ask any query like what is Ollama. So it will start responding to our query. So here you will see the model response was completed. Now if we have to exit this chat session, we can simply type /by. So the chat session will be ended. Now if we have to check what all models are currently loaded inside our system memory, we can make use of this command, which is Ollama ps. So Ollama ps will list what all models are currently loaded inside our memory. So it will be loaded till next 4 minutes. Post that, it will be automatically unloaded from our memory. And if we have to stop this model, we can make use of this command Ollama stop. Then we can specify the model ID. So model will be automatically unloaded from our memory. And now if we type Ollama ps, no model should be listed here because the model was unloaded from our memory. So here you will see no models are listed. And if we have to delete the downloaded model, we can type the Ollama RM and then specify the model ID. So it will remove the downloaded model from our system. These are some of the useful commands that we can make use of if we have to work with the different models. Now the model is currently downloaded inside our machine. If we have to expose it over the REST APIs, then we can make use of this command, which is Ollama serve. It will start the server and it will expose our model on this particular port, which is 11434. And if we have to interact with our model, we can send the post request to this particular endpoint, which is localhost 11434. And the endpoint which we have to send request to is /API/chat. And we can specify the request payload. Post that, our model will process this request and we will receive the response. Now we will go to the postman and send the request to this particular endpoint, which is /API/chat. And while sending the request, we will specify the model. In our case, it is Gemma 3 1 billion parameter. And inside the messages array, we will ask our query and we will specify our role, which is user. And we are setting the stream as false. Now when we will send our request, the model will be loaded inside the memory. It will process our request and we will receive the response. So here you will see we have received the response from our model. So this is how we can communicate with the model with the help of REST APIs that are exposed by the Ollama server. Now we are going to create a very simple chat based application with the help of LangChain4j and Spring Boot, wherein our application will interact with the local models that are running inside the Ollama. So this is how our overall project structure will look like, wherein the name of our application is LangChain4j Chat Model Ollama Demo. At the very top we have the Spring Boot main class. Then we have the chat controller, inside which we will have one REST endpoint which can be called by the users, wherein they can ask the query and this query will be processed by the local LLMs, and once the query has been processed we will simply send the response. Then we have the application.yml inside the resources folder which contains the model configuration. Then finally we have the pom.xml containing project related configuration. Now let's go through our code base, starting with the pom.xml. At the very top you will notice we are making use of Spring Boot version 3.5.10. When it comes to Java we are making use of version 21. And for LangChain4j we are working with latest stable version which is 1.11.0. Coming to the dependencies section, first we have added the Spring Boot starter web dependency which will help us to create the REST APIs. Then in order to work with the Ollama, we have added the LangChain4j Ollama Spring Boot starter dependency which will allow our LangChain4j application to work with the local models that are running inside Ollama. Then inside the dependencies management section, we have added the LangChain4j BOM for the version management. Now coming to the application.yml, here we have specified the name of our application. Then we are defining the model configuration with the help of the properties that are offered by the LangChain4j. So here you will notice we have specified LangChain4j Ollama. Then inside the chat model, we are specifying the base URL. Since our Ollama server is working on port 11434, here we have specified the same. And in our case we are going to work with the Google Gemma 3 model. So here we have specified the model name as Google Gemma 3 1 billion parameter model. And then for logging request and response we are simply setting these two flags to true, which will help us to understand what request is being sent to the local LLMs and what response we are receiving. Now coming to the Spring Boot main class, this is the standard Spring Boot main class which will bootstrap our application, and also it will automatically configure the chat model with the help of which we can interact with the local models that are running inside Ollama. Then we have the controller package, inside which we have the chat controller class. Now inside this class we are going to create one REST endpoint which user can make use of in order to send the query, and once the query has been processed user will receive the response. So at the very top we have defined the base path for our controller which is /API/v1. Then we have created one simple chat endpoint which is of type post and the path suffix is /chat. In order to receive the request from the user, here we have specified a type as map of string. So in this case, user will send the request in the form of JSON, which will be key value pair. So that particular request will be mapped here. Once the request has been processed, we will send the JSON response back to the user, for which we have specified the type as map of string of object. Now once the user has sent the request, we need to extract the query. So here you will see from the request, we are extracting the query which is sent by the user, and here we are assuming the query will be present inside this field which is message. Once we have extracted the user query, we are storing it inside the variable user message. Now we have the user query, we need to send it to the LLM. So here we can make use of the chat model interface which is provided by the LangChain4j, and with the help of chat method we can send the query to the LLM. Once the LLM has processed the query, we will receive the response in the form of string. And here you will see the chat model is getting auto-wired. Once we have received the response, now we need to send the JSON response back to the user, for which here we have created the linked hash map, and inside that we have added one field named as AI response which will contain the response which is sent by the LLM. Now once the linked hash map is ready, we are simply returning it back to the user. So yeah, this is how our LangChain4j application can interact with the LLMs that are running inside Ollama. Now our application is ready, we can simply test the same. But before that, you need to make sure the model name that you have specified is already available inside the Ollama. So we will start our application. Now our application is started. We can simply test our endpoint. Now we will go to the postman and send the post request to this particular endpoint, which is /API/v1/chat. And inside the request body, we are specifying our query inside this particular field, which is message. Now when we will send the request, this particular request will be forwarded to the Google Gemma 3 model, which is running inside Ollama. It will process our request and we will receive the response back. So yeah, we have received the response. Now if we go to the application logs, here you will see the request and response logs are getting printed because we set these two flags to true. And if we look at the request logs, here you will notice the request was sent to the port 11434 and the endpoint was /API/chat. Here the model name is also mentioned here and the query which was asked by the user is also mentioned here. Now at the bottom you will also notice the response logs are getting printed and the response that was sent by our model is mentioned inside the body. Yeah, so that was all regarding how we can connect our LangChain4j application with the local models that are running inside Ollama. For this, we have also written one detailed article which you can go through if you are interested. Also, the code base that we discussed in this tutorial is uploaded on GitHub. You can simply check out the code and try the same. Yeah, so that was all from my end. I hope you found it useful. Thank you.